Valve's been making a new game, and you've almost certainly heard of it. It's called Deadlock, a brand new third-person MOBA that Valve has been silently cooking up for a few years now. At the time of writing, this game is sitting at a comfortable 75,000 concurrent players, with an all-time peak of 171,000. And the craziest part of all of this is that this game is in closed beta. You need to be personally invited to be able to play. And crazier still, Valve hasn't done any official marketing for Deadlock. There's not a single trailer, not a single public post on social media, nothing. So how did Valve manage to get these player numbers? Why is Deadlock the talk of the town all over social media? Well, the answer is remarkably simple. It's guerrilla marketing. Well, wait, it's not guerrilla, like, it's like, can you change that O out? It's like with the U and the E. Yeah, see, that's the one. Thank you. Sorry to disappoint, but this marketing strategy has nothing to do with, like, monkeys or apes or anything cool like that. It's guerrilla marketing. This is an unconventional marketing strategy that's designed to catch people off guard in their day-to-day life. When you scroll through YouTube or social media or even just walk around in a big city, advertising is quite literally everywhere you look. It's banner ads, it's pop-up ads, it's billboards. You might have even seen an ad before this very YouTube video. But people are getting very, very good at just ignoring ads. We're all so accustomed to what an ad looks like and where an ad usually appears that the moment an advertisement shows up, most people instantaneously just start ignoring it. So instead of paying for a billboard or a TV ad, you instead try and put ads in places where people aren't ready to see them. And there's tons of examples of this sort of thing being done in the past. Tesla sending an electric car into space and live streaming it. Flash mobs in supermarkets and malls and stuff to shout out whatever brand paid for the privilege. Deadpool having a Tinder account for some reason. These are all, clear as day, advertisements. Ideas cooked up by a marketing team. But they don't feel that way to the people who see them. It doesn't feel the same as watching a crappy ad for a washing machine on TV. So people are way more willing to engage with it. And in the modern day, the most powerful form of guerrilla marketing is simply going viral on social media, which is exactly what Deadlock is making use of. Viral posts all over social media talking about Valve's brand new shiny game. But there's a problem with going viral as a marketing strategy. You see, if one of Valve's official Twitter accounts goes viral, nobody really cares. It doesn't resonate with people. It doesn't have the same impact as a normal person going viral does. Unless you're already a fan of Counter-Strike, these trailers for CS2 that were posted to social media still feel like an advertisement. It's a trailer being posted on Twitter by a billion-dollar company. The real power of viral marketing is when the viral post isn't made by the company doing the marketing, but is made by a regular person who is genuinely, truly passionate about what they're talking about. Like, do you remember this guy? This guy posted a video of himself on TikTok skateboarding down the street whilst listening to Fleetwood Mac and absolutely vibing his little heart out. This guy is clearly the coolest guy in the entire world, and because of that, this 20-second video of him skateboarding went ultra viral in 2020. This video has nearly 100 million views, and in that video, completely by chance, he takes a giant swig of a huge bottle of Ocean Spray cranberry juice, labeled to the camera and everything. You couldn't have scripted an advertisement for Ocean Spray better than this if you tried. And this cost the company Ocean Spray literally $0. But despite that, this was the biggest and most successful advertisement for their product that had ever been created. And of course the company tried to capitalize on it after the fact. They gave him like brand deals and bought him a truck and all that good stuff, trying to make this an even better advertisement than it already was. But this one viral video literally increased the sales of Ocean Spray juice, single-handedly. And the reason this is so good is because it's not Ocean Spray, the faceless corporation, trying to convince you to drink more of their dumb sugar water. It's a real guy with a real personality and a real bottle of cranberry juice with no affiliation to the company whatsoever, just clearly loving every second of drinking this cranberry juice on his skateboard. There's other examples of this out there too, like that Grimace shake trend that happened a little while back. Apparently it was Grimace's birthday and McDonald's made like a special edition milkshake or whatever, and this milkshake had people rushing to McDonald's restaurants everywhere so that they could film themselves drinking a purple milkshake and then pretending to be dead in ridiculous poses. This wasn't a at all planned by McDonald's, as you can probably imagine. It just happened naturally. But it resulted in McDonald's selling these stupid milkshakes like they were going out of fashion. And I think my favorite example is just this one tweet. Just some random Twitter user, literally called Biggerless Dickoless. He made a tweet talking about a book he liked. It's just a really genuine recommendation of a book from someone who is clearly passionate about it. But this tweet went insanely viral, and as a result of this book shot up the Amazon bestsellers list, peaking as the 3rd best-selling book at the time. This guy's not a celebrity, they're not a famous face, this isn't even a Twitter account with a particularly large amount of followers, but their genuine recommendation of this book single-handedly skyrocketed the sales of it, all while their Twitter name was Biggerless Dickoless. And I think this is the sort of thing that Valve is tapping into to generate so much hype around Deadlock. It has player numbers that look like this simply because it's going viral on social media on a regular basis. And it isn't going viral from Valve talking about it themselves, it's instead going viral by regular people posting about it. But you might remember only a little while back that Deadlock was a pretty well kept secret. It's only been a handful of months since we even knew Deadlock existed, right? So how has Valve managed to manufacture such impressive social media engagement out of a game that they wanted to keep a secret? Well, to answer that question, we need to go back in time a little bit. Back to when Deadlock's closed beta really was a secret. See, before this year, Deadlock's closed beta only had a handful of people playing in it. They were invited personally by Valve employees into this beta to playtest the game and give feedback on it. And you were asked politely not to tell anybody about it. There was never an official NDA signed or an official embargo or anything like that, because Valve doesn't really work that way. They just trusted the people they invited to keep it a secret, until one guy came along and he screwed it all up. And he caused a major leak that showed the entire world what Deadlock was, what it looked like, and how it was meant to be played. And that guy is actually someone you might have heard of. It was none other than TF2 YouTuber Uncle Dane. Let's give it up for Uncle Dane, everybody. Here he comes, like, round of applause. You tell him, Dane, yeah! Uncle Dane was invited into Deadlock's beta while it was still a secret, and to put it politely, he wasn't very impressed with Valve's work. He thought the game kinda sucked, and he was shocked that this was what Valve was spending all their money and time on. Dane was so taken aback by how bad he thought the game was, that he streamed it to some of his friends on Discord, just to show them how bad he thought the whole thing was. In fact, you can hear him say this in his own words.
You know what there isn't demand for? A third-person competitive MOBA that is so painfully out of touch that as soon as I got access to the closed beta test, I immediately had to show a few people over Discord to say, can you believe this is what Valve is working on right now? A PvP game that will guaranteed be botted to death and full of cheaters on week 1 because Valve refuses to tackle the problem.
One of those people in the Discord call with him that day secretly recorded the entire thing and started sharing it around online, which resulted in Deadlock being known to the public way earlier than Valve wanted it to be. The footage was him jumping around in a practice server. It showed the general art style, the general animations of certain characters, and it showed the character select screen, where he clicked through a bunch of the characters to show what they look like. Up until this point, this game was a huge secret, so this leak was major news, and the first leak opened the floodgates for many, many more leaks that appeared shortly afterwards. Footage of the tutorials, footage of actual matches, footage of the menus, footage of everything. This was definitely not part of Valve's plan, and they certainly weren't prepared for it. But in classic Valve fashion, they weren't going to let a good opportunity go to waste. So they started to do something very clever. The leaks generated a ton of interest in the game, so Valve quietly started being a whole lot less strict with who they were willing to let into their beta test. They started accepting almost anyone who was invited into the beta test. Why keep the player base small if everybody already knows about the game anyway? This meant that anyone who currently had beta access could invite as many of their friends as they wanted, and practically every single one of them would be allowed in. So the game's player numbers grew exponentially. But despite the number of players skyrocketing, and despite the fact that everything about the game had already leaked, it still felt like a big deal to get beta access. Everyone who got in, myself included, felt like they were in on a big secret. And the reason everyone felt this way, simply put, was because of this. This one pop-up. This is basically just Valve saying, don't leak the game please, Lamau, but it's not an actual formal NDA or anything. It's just Valve asking nicely that you don't post about it online. But this simple text box made everybody think that they were in on some giant conspiracy that nobody else knew about or had access to. And it made posts about the game on social media feel all the more special, which aided in their ability to go insanely viral every time footage was posted. Despite the fact that the game's player numbers were in the tens of thousands at this point, everything posted online still felt like a leak. It had this air of mystery around it, like you were seeing something you weren't supposed to see. There was even this article from The Verge where they wrote all about what this new Deadlock game was like and how it looked and had screenshots and everything. And they even smugly wrote about how there's this pop-up and how they didn't actually click the checkbox in agreement. So they're gonna report on the game anyway because they didn't agree to anything. And this Verge journalist got their account banned from Deadlock in response to this, and most likely also got The Verge blacklisted from ever getting early access to any Valve project ever again. So from a career standpoint, this is a comedically bad idea from them. But if I had to guess, I would imagine that Valve kind of wanted this to happen, because it is literally free marketing. The buzz created by all of these posts and articles is enormous and is way better at generating hype than any advertisement or trailer that Valve could possibly create themselves. Since then, Valve has removed this funny text box and allowed people to stream the game and make YouTube videos without risk of losing their Deadlock accounts. Now the cat is out of the bag and the secrecy is done away with, but the playtest is still invite only, so not everyone has access to it. And unsurprisingly, content creators talking about the game and streaming themselves playing it generates even more buzz than there already was. Now, instead of posts that feel like leaks going viral, it's now countless accounts posting fan art of their favorite Deadlock characters. Or, I don't know, people finding out that Onipixel hasn't streamed for weeks because he's too addicted to Deadlock. And now there's even tournaments happening in a game that's not even out yet. So this is the magic trick Valve used to make Deadlock one of the most played games on Steam without spending a single penny on marketing. Now, you might be left with one final question. There's no way Valve planned all of this, right? There's no way Valve is this galaxy-brained. There's no way this is all a part of their master plan. The final question is, did Valve plan all of this? Well, the answer, in my opinion, is remarkably simple. Probably. Like, did Valve intentionally plan for Uncle Dane to leak the footage of the game early so people knew it existed and wanted to know more about it? No. Almost certainly not. However, did Valve capitalize on this unfortunate leak and use it to their advantage? Yes. Absolutely they did. Their decision to open up their beta to an enormous amount of people right after a major leak is probably a calculated move from them to try and generate buzz on social media. And the air of being sworn to secrecy just aided in the virality of every single post about Deadlock. If you ask me, everything that came after the Uncle Dane leak was almost certainly planned, and it all worked like a charm. Now, will Valve eventually create trailers for the game? Will they eventually do a whole bunch of traditional marketing to try and publicize the game when it actually comes out? Of course they will. But for now, they don't even have to. Without spending a penny, Deadlock has become a worldwide sensation. A game in closed beta with player numbers that most developers can only dream of. And it's all thanks to guerrilla marketing. No, look, I told you it's not spelt gorilla. It's not a monkey.